This MMA content is proudly brought to you by the AllStar app, a fully customizable ad-free sports experience. Download it now.
You got a crazy fight coming up, right? Khaos Williams. When the management came to you and then they put this name in front of you, what was your initial reaction to the matchup?
Let's ride, man. Let's ride. You know me, I only fight the killers, man. Is it don't matter the name you put in front of me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna go hard. You know, and I'm gonna do it in style. So it's the type of fight that I like. It's a guy that's high energy. He's throwing volume, big power. He's coming forward. Um, a super aggressive. I love those guys. You know, that plays right into my style. So when they came to me, I was like, hell yes.
Let's talk about your last victory, man, against Jared Gooden. You know, you went to the judges, something that is very rare for you. You know what I mean? I think the last time you went to the judges was like 2017 against Mickey Gall. But
Which I shouldn't
15,
have, by the way.
yeah, but 15 minutes, man, that's a long time to, you know, test some things out, learn some things about yourself. You know, what did you get to test out? What did you get to learn about yourself in that 15 minutes?
Well, I learned about my heart, my durability, just being able to overcome adversity in the midst of, you know, heat in battle, I guess, My toe was dislocated and it kept popping out. I had a couple fractures and torn ligaments there that just kept it coming out and had to keep readjusting it. I had no spring in my back foot. Um, and I learned that I can mask it. I was masking it and doing all kind of other stuff just to kind of play it off. And yeah, it showed that I can persevere. So that's what I've learned. And I've learned to slow down the fight and kind of just take it at my pace. You know what I mean? So force people to fight at my pace. So yeah, that's what I've learned. And I believe that if I wasn't injured, maybe I would have, maybe I would have gotten him out of there too. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, and we just did what we had to do. But it was fun. It was a fun fight.
Yeah, those types of fights, man, where you're injured and then you have to pull it through. I think those are more valuable wins than, let's say, you go in there and get a 30-second knockout with a perfect punch, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So is that why there was like an extended leave of absence for yourself because of the toe? How long did that take to get figured out, the injury?
A little bit, but not too bad. You know what I mean? I had to go under the knife. They had to fix some things. But everything's good now. That's why we took the time off, the proper time that we needed, and now back to 100%, just ready to go. It's my back foot. You know what I mean? I got to be able to spring forward, cover distance, and move laterally and stuff like that. So um, we had to go get that fixed.
What's a worse injury? A toe injury, like the big toe, or your thumb?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've never injured my hands. Knock on wood. Um, but it was. People think it's like my toe. It's not my actual toe. It's like the knuckle up higher up to going towards my instep. That knuckle right there, the big toe knuckle. Um, it was that. You know what I mean? It was a ton of ligament damage. I chipped the socket, and then there's ligament damage underneath there. So it would just flop it all over the place. You know what I mean? So they had to go in there, get a pin, readjust it, reattach it, and all that. So it was bad, just to say the least. It was bad. I just couldn't move well. You know what I mean? And a big part of my game is movement. So I couldn't move well. So it was pretty bad. I'd say that the foot is bad. I've never had a hand injury, but the foot, that's my wheels, man. And that took me out a lot. It did a lot more than I thought it would.
Even like when you got back into training earlier this year, I saw that
Mhm.
you went out and kind of did some training in other spots. Could you explain like what you did?
Just the typical stuff. I didn't really go anywhere crazy. This time I stayed on the East Coast. You know what I mean? I went to Philadelphia. I'm going to Philly actually tomorrow for the week. That's why I wasn't gonna be able to get with you. So I was able to go to Philly and get some work in with those dudes over there. It's just they got a big team, a lot of bodies, for me to push, and that can push me. So that was it. And then my home team.
And anything different though, besides like going out every couple of days to another spot?
Nah, it's the same game plan, man. Same game plan. This dude is we've seen him before, you know. Not him in particular, but his style is something that I've seen before. He's very, very dangerous. I love the energy that he brings to the UFC. Um, I love his tenacity. I love the volume. You know what I mean? The power, the nastiness. I love it all about him. But the thing is, I feel like I've seen him before. Multiple times.
Yeah, and so
So,
it yeah, that's the thing, man. You've seen this guy multiple times, so you kind of have a way to, game plan for this type of fighter. So what are your expectations in this fight? How do you want to defeat, Khaos Williams?
he's gonna see this interview, right? I can't just give away
Yeah.
my game plan, but you know, I think that being home, was best for me because, like I said, we've seen him before. So in preparation for him, some other fighters I had to travel and do all the other stuff, but um, we have everyone here that we need. You know what I mean? So with him, I think that um, training here at home is gonna help.
And also, like, when you go on with your career, do you have like milestones that you want to reach? Because I feel like this fight could be a milestone for you. You know what I mean? Your first 3-fight winning streak in the UFC, which will propel you even further into the division or higher up into the division, right? Do you have something like that, like goals set for yourself?
Absolutely. I always have goals, and they change from time to time, depending on the situation. But honestly, I didn't really look at that as if that's true. I've never really in the UFC been on a hot streak in the UFC yet. I feel like I've shown glimpses of my ability and the things that I can do, and I think that yeah, if I get a beautiful performance here, will do wonders for my career. So yeah, I think the milestone would be not just beating this guy. The milestone, honestly, for me, will be breaking into the rankings. And I don't think a win over this guy does that right now. Maybe, maybe not. But I think the one after him does it.
Well, I think that they're giving you this matchup because they want to break one of you guys into the top 15. He's 4-1. You have a lot of wins against tough guys. You know what I mean? You are on a win streak right now, so we will see what the UFC does after this matchup. Your mouthpiece, it says "Dem Dead" written across the front. Where does that come from?
Them dead. It's just like a Jamaican saying. I started with the artist Popcorn. You know, that's it. It means what it says. Them dead. Not them candle. No matter how them come with the wall of them dead.
Yeah, and
Uh,
a lot of Jamaican influence because Top Boy is like the number one show in the world right now. Have you been watching that?
You know who told me about Top Boy? I mean,
Who?
I've heard about it from time to time, but I really heard when Michael Bisping told me to watch that. He's like, "You ever seen Top Boy? You should watch Top Boy." And I'm like, "All right." My brother's been telling me about it too. I watched it a little bit. It's all right. It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's cute. All right, all right. A lot of Jamaican influence on that. I mean,
Absolutely.
a lot of kids in the world watching Top Boy, walking around trying to talk like the boys on Top Boy, talking cute, so to say, right?
Oh man, Jamaica has a huge influence on British dialect, and I want to say Toronto too. Toronto dialect too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Hey, put me in Jamaica and I'll try my hardest to sound just like every Jamaican on the island. I swear to God. If
Hey, there's a ton of Asians in Jamaica.
for sure.
A ton,
Yeah.
ton. Be surprised.
Yeah. Well, I lived in Miami, so I've heard about like the communities out there, like the Asian communities out there. So it's it's something that I want to experience one day. You know what I mean? That's on the bucket list. I got a couple more
Definitely.
questions. Yeah, I got a couple more questions. Outside of your fight, a couple more. This one is for MMA media. The coverage of the sport. Being criticized from time to time. Could you give some advice for people in the media out there? Some do's and don'ts with dealing with fighters.
And I don't really pay media no mind as much as I used to. I guess that just comes with experience. Media is gonna media, man. Media is gonna do what they do. No matter what I say right now, they ain't gonna change nothing. You know what I mean? If I give you one piece of advice, any media, it's not even advice. I just want to know why everybody covered Jake Paul so much. Like, fuck is that guy done? You know what I mean? Like in our sport. I mean, yeah, he beat some guys that, in boxing, some of our top guys, but these dudes don't box, These guys aren't boxers, man. Like, I don't know. And then some of the guys that can box are not gonna get the matchups with him. So it's all just styles. It's all just status and shit like that, So they give a guy that with status that maybe been a wrestler or something, and then he knocks them out, and then he gets all this shine, and the media gives him a ton of shine. That's it. I don't know. That's all I got as far as the media. Media is always gonna do what they do.
Jake Paul brings the Disney crowd, and people outside of MMA, I guess, the outside the MMA world, and I believe that's why a lot of those media outlets are covering it. I mean, it's just not MMA media; it's like all media pretty much. Jake Paul and his brother have become, these insta-click, like
that's fair.
Clickbait. It's kind of like a clickbait name in a way nowadays. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So, what can you do? That's how the media, the whole world works now, right?
That's fair. That's true.
Now, PTSD in combat sports, right? Not CTE, but PTSD from like an injury or a weight cut or even damage taken in a fight, and maybe even a loss. You know what I mean? Like some people get devastated off a loss. Have you ever experienced this and overcome it or seen it in other fighters?
Oh, absolutely. PTSD in combat sports is huge, and it breaks down a lot of people. It can either destroy you or make you better. I've seen it destroy a lot of people, and I've seen it make a lot of people better. And I think that's just based on the people around you. I think it's also based on your resilience, just you as a person. So many different things, it's person to person basis, but it goes to a person to person base. But I think that is huge, and we don't talk about it enough, But we just call it being in growing up in boxing. For me, they just called it being gun shy. You know what I mean? You see a guy get knocked out, and then all of a sudden, he's never the same. He never wants to. He always worried about getting knocked out again. Or you see someone get injured in a certain way, or fuck up a weight cut, and they just obsess over the whole camp is about making weight, and then they get away from actually getting better and game planning for the guy. It's like, I just need to be in shape and make the weight so I don't fuck it up. Fighting is such a delicate balance, and I think that we just don't talk about it enough. But it's just a science, and it's such a delicate thing that if you just mess one small thing up, it could just throw everything off, and fans give us so much shit, man, and like just for fucking up a simple thing that no one cares, no one cares about your weight cut, no one cares about your camp, no one cares about all that shit. It's like you won or you lost, So and I always say, not always the better fighter doesn't always win, Sometimes the better fighter loses because he lost in the preparation, Something didn't go right. But yeah, I've seen a ton of guys get done in by PTSD, but there's guys like myself, I feel like I've overcome a lot of things, losses, injuries, critics, situations. I've just been overcoming shit since I was young, man. I've been overcoming shit since I was born. I've been beating the odds. You know what I mean? I'm not even supposed to be here, bro. I've been beating the odds forever, So that has forged a certain kind of mental toughness for me. So when I've faced that in combat, when I got into sports and faced it in combat sports, essentially, if you know my story, I've already won. You know what I mean? So when I face that, it's like, all right, just another setback. Let's rally. You know what I mean? And I think I can credit that's why I've never lost 2 in a row, ever, because I always get better. And I hang my hat on that, is that I always get better. And you can speak to it. Anyone can speak to it. If you're paying attention, you see when I show up to fight, I'm never the same guy twice. I'm always better no matter what. So PTSD is real, but you can either use it as fuel or you can let it destroy you.
Of course, we got to get into some stuff that's outside of MMA that's killing the I guess the internet. Is Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Like, when you saw that, right? I'm pretty sure. Are you a guy that watches the Oscars? I'm not, but when that happened, yeah.
So, I'm not really into that.
but Will Smith slapping Chris Rock on stage. Like, when you saw that, did you feel like maybe that was fake? Maybe they were trying to get some ratings?
Initially there was a lot of things going through my mind. Yeah, I thought it was fake, and then for a second, but then I realized it wasn't just. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't. For a little bit, I thought it was fake, and then after I was like, oh no, it's definitely not fake. Just based off of his reaction when he went and sat back down. But is what it is.
What'd you think about it? Because a lot of people say, he was doing his little comedy thing. That's what usually happens at those award shows. And Will Smith, you saw the outrage, right? Like, he's out of control. He's psychotic. There were some people going at Will Smith, man, for
Nah, they're
slapping
just
Chris Rock.
drama queens, man. They're just drama queen. My take may be a little bit off from everybody else, I guess. And not to say that he was right in doing so. I think he needs to be held accountable. But at the end of the day, I think for the times that we live in, I think that was good for people. It was good for the times. You know, I think that people need to understand that that can happen. Was he right? No, especially at an award show. But it just sends a message that you can't. We live in a time where people feel like there's no consequences anymore for saying things because of the internet. When I grew up, we just knew, and where I grew up today, where I'm at today, that's just how it is. It's like you're held accountable instantly. So you know how to carry yourself. In that situation, I guess it's different because it's an award show and he's a comedian, so it's a little different. But I was just happy people got to see. Listen, man, if you say things, you can't just say things just to say things. Like there can be repercussions, whether it's right or wrong. You need to understand that things can happen, and some people are just not playing that. But on the other side of it, um, it's an award show, and I don't think maybe he shouldn't have handled it that way. But it is what it is. You just never know what people are going through. And another thing that I took away from it is like, hey, maybe we don't know anything. We're just spectators, so we don't know the dynamics of the relationship between Jada, Will, and Chris. We don't know what they got going on. Imagine someone you don't like or someone you already got a thing with. Y'all don't really deal with each other like that, and now they going upstairs on stage making jokes about you. Like, bro, you already know I don't fuck with you. So like, why, that could have triggered it. We don't know. We truly don't know. Not to say it's right, but we just don't know the situation.
You make a great point, man, because they have known each other for a long time. You don't know how they are really behind closed doors or backstage. So yeah, there could be something there, man. You might have opened up something right there. Investigators are going to get on it. And connected to to the MMA world, you just saw Jorge Masvidal sucker punch Colby Covington, and that was mostly because of the talk. I don't think that was from the result of the fight. I think that would have probably happened anyways, even if Masvidal would have won. I feel like Masvidal is that type of guy, and like you said, there's repercussions for things that you say, and that was kind of a wake-up call in some ways too. I'm not saying it was right, but it was a wake-up call.
Absolutely. I think we get carried away, and we're in a time where we can just say whatever and we get carried away with that. But again, where I grew up, you knew how to walk a line. You knew things you couldn't say or could say just because, not to, and it's not even about street shit. It's not even about being in the streets. It's just like, yo, you just know it's just common law. You know what I mean? Like you just got to know how to carry yourself. And certain things you just don't do and say just for a couple laughs on the internet and a couple likes is weird, So again, I'm not condoning what Masvidal did, but again, you can't talk street shit for entertainment, quote unquote entertainment purposes, and just leave it at that. Like, you also said when I see you in the street, I'm gonna give you 5 rounds, right? That's like you gotta expect that. And then you in the dude's neighborhood. What do you think, man? You gotta, some people just talk to talk. Like some people are not just talking to talk. I don't believe what Masvidal did was right, but again, we can't just talk to talk. We gotta understand, like, yo, mean what you say what you mean. Some people are taking it to another level, and as a professional, that's not how you carry yourself on both ways, going both ways. But if you go there, you got to expect it. But that's just me. And not to say my take is right, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah, Colby, he's funny at times, and sometimes he does cross the line. He talks like he's Omar from The Wire. Like that's how he talks, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Like if you're Omar from The Wire, then you can say whatever you want, right? Like that's what Colby is, like on the mic. But then, of course, we know in the street or whatever, everybody says different things about him. But
It's not good.
yeah, it's not good. Not good, but there's lessons in there. There's lessons in there for everybody.
Absolutely. Accountability is a hell of a thing, man. And like even when it happened, I tweeted about it, and people was calling me a whole bunch of stuff and, saying that they all had their weird takes about it and all that, but I stand by it. Um, the thing is you can't when Kobe hit walked up on what's his name? Leon Edwards, right? When he walked up on Leon Edwards, right? He said it was 3-piece and a soda, right? It was the same thing. They were like, oh, well, he was talking shit. No, he was walking up and he said something and he walked over from his interview, not expecting, to get punched. You're not expecting to get punched in the face, and he hit him with 3 punches, right? And then they broke it up. That's 3-piece and a soda. That was hilarious, right? Now, the Kobe situation, right? It's not 3-piece. Everyone's upset. It's not 3-piece and a soda anymore. My thing is we need to just be uniform with our outrage and just like, hold people accountable no matter what. And I realize if people like someone, not because you like that person, right? The rules don't change because you like them. You know what I mean? You got to hold everybody accountable. What's wrong is wrong. What's right is right. That's it.
Appreciate you, man, for taking the time today to talk, man. May 7th, UFC 274, Phoenix, Arizona, man. You always get on these big cards, man. It's always good to see your face on the marquees and stuff. Thank you so much, man, for the time.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.